So I want to kind of walk through the nursery and I want to show you guys some plants that might show signs that they need a bigger pot. And sometimes this is a mystery for people and they don't know when to upsize a plant. A lot of times when we're upsizing, it's not that we're upsizing it because the soil has gone bad. A lot of times soils don't go bad. What happens is that the plants tend to outgrow their pots. And that's a sign that that plant needs a bigger home. So what we're looking at is, big telltale sign is one, putting your finger in the soil and seeing what it feels like. So as I'm putting my finger in the soil, I'm feeling a tight root ball. That means that those roots have touched the edge and now are growing back into itself. And as those roots get tighter, if we let this go much farther, those roots are gonna get so tight that it can't get the water and the fertilizing it needs in the center of the root ball. Then that water's gonna run out the bottom and then the plant is kind of done. So what we tend to do is double the size of the pot. So as we're looking at a plant, we're like, how big of a pot does this need? Another tip is that however big the green growth is, so if we take all this green growth and make it kind of clump it down, that's how much root system there are. Because plants have a balance of roots and shoots. You can't have big shoots without big roots, or you can't have little roots with big shoots. So if you're looking at this plant and you're like, man, if I took all this green growth and put it in this pot, it'd be really squished. Well, guess what? That's what's happening with this root system. So it's definitely time to upsize these. So let's talk about how big of a pot we need. We're gonna look at one more plant over this way. So one thing we can do is look at this plant and figure out how big is it's actually gonna get. I know that this plant is gonna get maybe another foot tall and a foot wider. So knowing that, however big that plant gets is how big that root ball is gonna get. So if I'm looking to upsize this, I'm gonna start looking at something maybe about 4 or 5 times that size. Maybe like a wine barrel would be great for this, or like a 15-gallon container. But if you're not too sure, you're just always gonna double the size of that pot. So when you look at a plant, it's looking really full. It looks like it's bigger than the root system. It's time to double that size of that pot. So here at the nursery, that's what we look for when we are trying to figure out if a plant needs a bigger container. If you have any other questions or you're trying to figure out if this plant is in the right size container, bring us some photos of a small plant, bring it in. We'd love to help you out with it.